Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Varun Pawar, and welcome back to my channel, which is Certified Business Analysis Professional. And today we'll continue with the fourth knowledge area, which is requirement RADD, requirement analysis and design definition. And today we'll continue with the second activity, since the first activity we have done with, which is specify and model requirements and designs. And the second is verify requirements. So let's move ahead. Verify requirement. So I know you're familiar with this table. So we have done with the specify and model requirement. The input was elicitation results, and elicitation result could be of any state or any type. Either that would be confirmed or unconfirmed. And what we get is requirement is specified and modeled. Then in verify requirement, requirement is specified and modeled, which is the output of the first task. Get into this verify requirement and we get requirement verified. Now, what are the objectives? So objectives, requirements and designs, specifications and model meet quality standards. So just understand this way that verify is all about to give to check the consistency in terms of the quality, and that is internal. That is not with the stakeholders, which is where you have to get a sign off. That is validation part, where you do this UAT, user acceptance testing. So this is kind of a BAT that you do it internally. From that perspective, just go through this task. So requirements and designs, specification and models meet quality standards. Requirements and designs have been defined correctly. And the lines that I have bolded out here, do jot down those points because that is a key pointers for you during the examination. Requirements verification constitutes a check by the business analyst and key stakeholders to determine that the requirements and designs are ready for the validation and provides the information needed for further work to be performed. A high quality specification is well written and easily understood by its intended audience. The most important characteristic of a quality requirements and designs is fitness for use. They must meet the needs of stakeholders who will use them for a particular purpose. Quality is ultimately determined by the stakeholders. So you can see verify requirement, and the first input is requirements specified and model, which is the output of the first task, specify and model requirement. Any requirement design or set of those may be verified to ensure that information is well structured and that matrices and modeling notations are used correctly. The second input we have here is some tools have functionality to check for issues related to many of the characteristics such as atomic, unambiguous, and prioritized. And this is requirements lifecycle management tool. So a lot of organizations have their own customized tool, as well as those are commercial off the shelf tool. So which provides this facility, or automated check and places are there. And then we have requirements verified. A set of requirements are designed that is of sufficient qualities to be used as a basis for the further work. Now we have the elements, the characteristics of requirements and design quality. So the first element is atomic. This means information within capable of being understood independently or other requirements or design. So if your requirement is not having all the information that would help you to let you know, like whether there is any dependency on that, or there is any other things required in order to understand this. So if that is missing there, then your requirement is not atomic. That's self-contained, you can say, self-contained, capable of being understood independently. Complete, enough to guide further work. The level of completeness required differs based on perspective or methodology, as well as the point in the life cycle where the requirement is being examined or represented. So assume you are in a when we talk about the software development life cycle, and suppose the requirement is still in the elicitation phase. So when we are saying elicitation phase, then this means that requirement itself is not complete. You are eliciting more information pertaining to that. Now the elicitation is being done. Now you have done the specify in the model, and now you have moved ahead. Suppose right now the requirement is handed over to the development team. So now the development team is analyzing that requirement for their implementation. So at that stage, uh, if that requirement is complete for the IT to move ahead, that is very subjective. So might be it needs more information, that the IT would come back to you and say that this scenario we have to do, but we lack information. Please provide more information. And suppose then the same information, once it's been developed, handed over to the testing team. The testing team might need a scenario. So they might come up with say, oh, this scenario is being missed. So right. So it's subjective. Subjective depends upon the stage or the phase where that requirement is now. So it's in development, or it's in testing, or that's in implementation, or it's elicitation. It depends upon phase to phase. So that's why it's written. A level of completeness required differs based on perspective or methodology, as well as the point in the life cycle where the requirement is being examined or represented. Now, consistent, aligned with the identified needs of the stakeholders and not conflicting with other requirements. That is consistent. Concise, contains no extraneous and unnecessary information, only the relevant information that should contain. Feasible, possible within the agreed upon risk, schedule, and the budget, or considered feasible enough to investigate further through experiments or the prototypes. Unambiguous, the requirement must be clearly stated in such a way to make it clear whether a solution does or does not meet the associated need. Then the requirement must be testable, able to verify that the requirements or designs has been fulfilled. Prioritized, ranked, grouped, or negotiated in terms of importance and value against all other requirements. Understandable, represented using common terminology known to audience. So these many characteristic of requirement you have to remember, because in examination it could be asked like atomic, complete is there, then which would be the two more characteristic. So they would give you different names. You should remember that should be consistent, concise, feasible, and ambiguous, testable, prioritized, or understandable. A very quick way to learn or to memorize this is this acronym, which is ACCC FOOTPO. ACCC FOOTPO. So atomic, complete, concise, consistent, feasible, unambiguous, testable, prioritized, and understandable. So hope this, if you remember this term, then you will able to answer the question within like 10-20 seconds and not more than that. So let's move ahead. Now the second element is talk about the verification activities. So verification activities are typically performed iteratively throughout the requirements analysis process. Verification activities include, now since we have gone through the characteristic, so wherever you will find those bold keywords, you can relate those directly with the characteristic. Checking for the compliance with the organizational performance standards for business analysis, such as using the right tools and the methods. Checking for the correct use of modeling notations, templates, or forms. Checking for the completeness within each model. Comparing each model against other relevant models. Checking for elements that are mentioned in one model but are missing in other models. and verifying that the elements are referred consistently. Ensuring the terminology used in expressing the requirement is understandable to stakeholders and consistent with the use of those terms within the organization, and adding examples where appropriate for clarification. Now, the third element, which is checklist. So I know you know about the checklist. This is a kind of a checklist. So quality checklist is there. You try to put the tick, 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 whichever is point is being done. So generally in production line or in assembly line or logistics supply, wherever the quality is being implemented and quality analyst is there, he generally used to do this checklist thing and mark against each item which is completed or done. So the first point for the checklist is checklists are used for quality control when verifying requirements and designs. So that checklist itself is very important. Remember the points and any question could come out of this. Checklist may include a standard set of quality elements that a business analyst use to verify the requirements, or they may be specifically developed to capture issues or concern. The purpose of a checklist is to ensure that items determined to be important are included in the final requirements deliverables, or that steps required for the verification process are followed. So who are the stakeholders who participate in verify requirement? Obviously, BA in conjunction with the domain subject matter expert and implementation subject matter expert has the primary responsibility for determining that this task has been completed. Other stakeholders may discover problematic requirements during requirement communication. Therefore, all stakeholders could be involved in this task in some later stages. Now, what are the techniques? Obviously, there is acceptance and evaluation criteria to ensure that the requirements are stated clearly enough to devise a set of tests. So remember these again, I have marked some keywords or some statements here in a bold, could be useful from the certification exam point of view. To ensure that the requirements are stated clearly enough to devise a set of tests that can prove that the requirements have been met. Item tracking to ensure that any problems or issues identified during verifications are managed and resolved. Metrics and key performance indicators, generally known as KPIs as well, to identify how to evaluate the quality of the requirements. And last, we have reviews to inspect requirements documentation to identify requirements that are not of acceptable quality. So that's it from verify requirement. The next session, we will continue with the validate requirements. That's the third task in the requirement analysis and design definition knowledge area. Hope you are finding my videos very useful for the examination. And generally, you watch my videos just for the understanding purpose, and then you can finally go back to the BABOK guide, and once you know, you can easily able to relate with the each line that is written in a BABOK. And the connected videos you can find somewhere here on top. You can check it out. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like my videos, because I am continuing with the complete BABOK knowledge areas and the techniques in near future. And if you will not subscribe, you will not get any alert. So don't miss those videos. These will be important for you to understand and will help you out in breakthroughing your CBAP certification exam. Also, one more important thing, that these sessions would also be beneficial for the CCBA aspirants as well, and they could help understand, and these videos could help them understand, and they would also able to relate with the BABOK, because the course is same, that is BABOK guide is for both. So hope you like those videos. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, take care and goodbye.